spotted this India mound out here. You see it?
Yeah.
You said you saw a large mound formation. I can see it there in front of us.
Looks like it's probably 5 feet off the ground, maybe.
Yeah, and actually it's pretty big. It goes on for a while.
It's all going to be easy walking here in a minute. If you could just grin and bear it for a couple more minutes, we'll be in the field.
Hi everybody, I'm Florida Trailblazer, exploring the history and wilderness of Florida. Today I'm out here roaming through these beautiful woods. We had to cross here. Out here exploring deep in the woods, getting close to an area where an old Native American Indian mound used to be. Seeing some shells on this mound. Look at this. All on the ground here, all these shells. A lot of it's covered up with the leaves. You see this uprooted tree here. Lots of shells here. What do you think of this?
It's crazy.
Amazing. A wall of shells.
Trees like this can uproot on these Indian mounds and just pull up along with it. Tons of history.
Let's take a look at some of these shells.
And if you look on the ground, there's even pottery that it got pulled up with it.
Yeah, you can see these pottery fragments. Some textures on them. A lot of history here, hundreds, thousands of years.
One of the big tourist spots back in the day, back in the 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
until Disney came along.
All those places are gone.
We had one called San Lando Springs. They called it San Lando because it was halfway between Sanford and Orlando, but now it's got a neighborhood built around it. But it was I think it was what do you call it? A second magnitude spring in Longwood there.
Pretty crazy. And what kind of deposits did you say were there?
It's from the shell. Over time the shell breaks down. And limestone is naturally occurring in Florida. But also limestone is made from calcium carbonate, which is also what seashells and shells in general are made from, calcium carbonate. So that's what concrete they use to make concrete. It hardens. It becomes a rock.
Look at all that. All underneath this tree, huh?
It's from the shell deposit. They're calcium carbonate deposits under this tree. They turn it to ceremonial mounds.
Yeah, these mounds were used for different purposes.
The charnel house mounds for a priest who, the charnel house was a little tiny structure. When someone would die, they would put their body in the charnel house, and sometimes they would use smoke and stuff for incense, but some of these Indians would let the body decay, and they would strip the flesh from the body over time as it decayed, and then once they had the skeletal remains, they would take the skeleton and they would bury it in fetal position in some of these mounds. And a lot of times they'd bury these, some of these Indians would bury their dead with things they treasured in life, like little ornamental shells and things they considered of value. They would put that in there with the remains of the person. So great care was taken in the process.
Also consider, like this mound here, we're seeing a lot of shells, and it was used for many purposes as we're talking about, and over hundreds and thousands of years. But right here on this water, the mound would have been very high. It would have been a place of high ground. It probably could have been seen from other tribes traveling up and down the waterways here, right?
Well, a lot of times, say there was Indians living here in 800 AD, and then say in 1400 AD, there was Indians living here. Well, those Indians may or may not have been connected to the other Indians, but they already got themselves a raised area, and they could put a house on here.
Yeah.
They could turn this into a temple mound. Just because it started out a trash heap doesn't mean it's going to be not used for something else, like a burial mound, or living quarters, or a charnel house mound, or even a temple mound.
That's so true, yeah.
So just because they discarded shell doesn't always necessarily make it just the trash heap.
And it's all natural debris that we're seeing here. All the shells, the pottery fragments, all that comes from turtle shells, bones.
You see fish bones.
Yeah, but all that comes from the environment here.
So it doesn't pollute.
Yeah.
It becomes natural. It goes back into where it came from. It's not synthetic. It's not motor oil. Actually, motor oil came from the earth too, but
it's different.
But it's not like you're taking motor oil and dumping it on the ground. So
yeah, these mounds were a different sort of place where they would discard the shells and all that, but they weren't just trash heaps. That's what we're kind of getting at here. But let's continue on through the woods. Make our way further along this mound. What an adventure so far. It's a beautiful day. Sun is shining. You having fun?
Yeah.
Cool. Very wooded on these mounds. Oh my goodness. What is this? It's like a big pit here on the mound. See this big pit here on the mound. You can see layers of shells down there. You can see the layers of shells here on this mound.